Are you? So, okay.
Go walk fast.
And this kind of super. I mean, this is normal, right?
You also have to figure it out. They're going to need go for it for the on top now. Yes,
Yes. Sorry.
What page is on?
Candlelight.
So, this is the light.
Yeah.
Sorry, sorry. We have 10 feet between us. We're giving you all a 10 feet there. Testing one, testing two. Let's go. security. The red house in the background.
It stay in front of you. It looks like a formation. It looks like a line.
Now, where is it?
Guys,
You want to come out to the sun? We still have to social distance. Just still social distance. Open that box, too. Which side you on for spin? Stay where you're supposed to. Any media here you talking to them?
Sorry?
Any media that is here, you are talking to them.
Okay.
The rest of them. So,
From spread out.
come on next. Next.
When I need to TPS joke, you see something, say something.
Yeah.
Yeah, you take that from the media. Daddy. Close. This on the other side. About the social distance, you
You want us to leave? Oh, yeah, okay, bye. I know.
Okay, so we are back to where we started this. I'm here with Daddy Barrett and Mommy Luke. Son Luke's coming. Come, just, you didn't have to say anything, just come. We are here, finally. State of emergency aside, lockdowns aside. We are here. These two boxes contain the 128,500 signature petitions. We are here with our PRO, Candice Barrett, and she has the formal list of demands signed by everybody that is involved in this organization. And the intention is simple. These petitions in a democracy goes to the seat of government, the parliament. And the government is supposed to take this that has been signed by more than 10% of the public, of the voting public of Trinidad and Tobago. The government has a responsibility to take this into that house and to discuss it and to say more than 10% of the people of Trinidad and Tobago have asked that we take these steps to secure and protect the women of this country, and that by no means are these the only steps that need to be taken, but that these steps would go a long way into securing our women in the future. We are at the Red House. We walked to the security. They asked us to come outside. We came to the pavement, and then they sent another police officer to tell us to cross the road, and that's okay. That's okay. All of that is okay. We're here. Last night, the country learned that time does run, night does run till day catch it. So for now, we will accept this handling of citizens at the seat of our house. The 41 people who are elected to that place are elected by us to speak for us because it belongs to us. It is how we are supposed to talk and solve our problems. There's a massive problem. Women in this country are being snatched and murdered, and that has to stop. And that parents of children lost to this madness are here to say, please, government opposition, take this seriously. This is an important issue, and that's why we're here today.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I'm Candice Barrett, and I'm the PRO of the Candlelight movement. We just want to say that on this historic day where we deliver what quite possibly is the largest petition in this nation's history, that we reflect on the type of country that we want. We are so grateful for the assistance and support of so many members of the right-thinking public who have shown us that we can become united for a good cause, and that cause is to make our women safer and our citizens safer. For far too long, we have been ignored by our lawmakers on both sides, and nothing has been done to curb the brutality against our women. This has to stop, and by us delivering these petitions, 120,527 signatures, it speaks volumes. It says that this is not okay, that we are concerned that something has to be done, and that we are calling upon our parliamentarians to address the issues raised in the petition. 5 simple points that is well within their power and very easily can be done, that will ultimately lead to some level of protection for women and citizens in this country. So thank you again, the Candlelight movement. Thanks all our citizens for their undying, unwavering support. We had to delay the petition somewhat because of the state of emergency and the rise in numbers in the COVID, in terms of COVID, but this has never been more important than it is today, because just a year ago, Ashanti's body was found. 5 years ago was Shannon. And there's so many women that we have lost to this violence, and it cannot continue. So thank you so much for your support, and we will continue to call upon Parliament to do what they have to do to protect our women.
Good afternoon, Trinidad and Tobago. Felicia Hola speaking, the chairman of the Candlelight movement. And today is as well as being a historic moment, today is also a very bittersweet moment for me. I mean, we're finally able to deliver the 128,500 signed petitions, but it's also accompanied with the very sad feeling that we did not accomplish what we set out to do, because Andrea was not the last woman to be murdered in this country, and I have refused to learn the names of the others because their names haunt me, like Andrea and Candice and all of the Ashanti and Shannon, like Candice just mentioned, all of these women who have gone missing. So while we were not able to save them and while we were not able to protect them, today is very symbolic, because these petitions that we are delivering to Parliament, it's you citizens, 128,000 plus of you saying that we are fed up and enough is enough. We saw last night what happens when citizens stand together. This Candlelight movement began what is a wave of change across Trinidad and Tobago, but we need now for the parliamentarians to pick up on where we left off. We can only do so much. We can only do so much. We can only cry so much. We can only march so much. We can only light so many candles. At some point, policy decisions need to be made. And if we're not protecting our women, if we're not making these policy decisions, then the people who are in charge and responsible, then they are just as much accountable when another woman turns up dead. Today, like I say, it's very bittersweet, but I hope we get to accomplish what we came here to do. Like Philip mentioned, they asked us to step across the road. I'm hoping that somebody with a conscience, somebody who wants a better Trinidad and Tobago, somebody who's thinking country first, will come out, accept these petitions, because this is the nation speaking. This is what a referendum looks like. This is how the nation talks to our parliamentarians. And it's time that you guys listen to us. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Avanel Hector Joseph, one of the members of the Candlelight movement. And we began this journey many months ago. We had some pauses in the process because of the COVID, the SOE and stuff, but we wanted to bring it to a close. No, we don't think by lighting a candle in itself could make a major difference. No, we don't think by getting 28,000 people to sign in itself could make a difference. But if we can get the policymakers, those people that we've actually employed, to really pay attention and to listen to what we've been going through as a nation, to hear the cry of Mr. Barrett, to hear the cry of Shannon Banfield's family, to hear the cry of Ashanti's family and so many other women throughout Trinidad and Tobago, if we could get them to understand that this is not just paper, this is something that is symbolic. It represents the cry of a nation. And for too long, those who should be hearing our cry, those who should be giving heed and paying attention to our cry, have ignored us. And we are hoping by this small gesture that today will be a turning on the heels of last night. A turning on, they will get our politicians on both sides to understand that it's only so long you can ignore the cries of the people. And we see what happened. I mean, we had an SOE for COVID. And even within that SOE, women were missing, girls were missing. We see the index in terms of the how we rated in terms of human trafficking, how people just walk into nothingness, and there is no sense of urgency. We are without a police commissioner. We are out the tools that could, effectively bring these kind of things. We have porous borders, so much that we could say, but we are hoping to bring to attention, to let the people on the both sides of the political divide understand that there are 128,000 plus citizens of Trinidad and Tobago who have cried so much. We have said rest in peace so much. We burn candle, we march, we wear black, we wear orange, we wear purple. We want all to at least have a little heart now. At least listen and say that you'll understand what is going on in this country, and you're not going to commit yourself. There are no quick answers, but you're going to commit yourself
Last
to
thing
make
I
a
could
difference.
ever want to do is interrupt Avanel. Senator David Naked knows what's going on outside. He contacted me. He said to ask the security to contact the Senate clerk. And so I just spoke to the inspector on site and the corporal. So they agreed they're going to talk to the Senate clerk. Senator Naked said if they don't and if that doesn't materialize, he is going to come out personally and receive it. So that's an update, and I'm very sorry I've given you back over to her.
All right, so you know, we have to be living in a country where we take things important. I remember some years ago, bless the man's soul, rest his soul, God rest his soul. When we had the concern about the migrants coming in the country and what we're gonna do, they said that's not a serious issue. When we wanted to discuss the whole issue of COVID, it was rejected and turned down by the honorable speaker, because we have a culture that we have to wait until something burning down and it's like a big disaster to deal with it. But if these high figures of women missing is not something that warrants an everything, right, that warrants a response, I really don't know what to say about our 41 parliamentarians, our government senators, our independent senators, and our opposition senators. All we are asking today is to hear the cry of the citizens, of mothers who have lost daughters, people who are crying, children who will never have any kind of closure to our children to be able and begin to enact proper policy towards some kind of change in this whole area. So we're hoping that, you know, somebody would receive this these petitions today.
All right. Thanks, Avanel. Passionate as usual. Yeah, it's a good day today. On behalf of the Candlelight movement and everybody, this is another young lady from Santa Cruz. So it continues, right? Now, I just want to say it's kind of ironic that we outside the square we were locked out of, waiting for somebody to come and collect these petitions. Because I remember the first meeting we had was supposed to be here in this very square, which is still locked up to today. As I'm only realized the square closed, right? Yeah. The chains seem to be part of the post now. First it locked so long. And we eventually had a meeting on Knox Street, right outside the Hall of Justice. We had a terrific turnout that night. Everybody spoke with passion, especially in the wake of what had happened and you know, everything that was taking place in Trinidad and Tobago at the time, with so many people in so many different areas coming out in support, you know. And we know that after the Knox Street meeting, we had another one in Baraka Grounds. And then, and I have to explain this because I realize a lot of people on social media, like, they lost confidence in whether or not we were going to deliver these petitions, or whether or not we were still serious, or maybe it was just a short-term situation where people were just looking for attention. It wasn't anything like that. Every member of this team are people that care. They care about the victims, they care about the victims' families. And we met a lot of people on the way, and we learned a lot of new stories as well. But after Baraka Grounds, there were restrictions that were put in place that stopped us from having public meetings. The last real meeting we had was in Arima with no crowd, up in the backyard there where Daddy Barrett resides. And then when we tried to go to South for our meeting in South, we had an entire car park, right? And we were shut down. It was just us in the car park with a stage, and we were shut down. And then we had the SOE. And the team had to make a decision on whether or not we would proceed to deliver the petitions in the middle of a SOE, or if we would wait it out. We thought initially that, hey, look, let's just wait the 3 months and we would deliver it then. And then they extended it. And we waited out, we had to wait it out again. So it wasn't a matter of not being serious or collecting the physical signatures and not doing anything with it. We appreciate every person, all 128,000 plus, right? Because there are 128,000 and some hundreds that signed these petitions, that took time. out of their day to go and physically sign these petitions. We appreciate everybody. We thank you for the support. We know that Andrea Barrett, Ashanti Riley, and everybody that came before and after will appreciate you as well. And we're just here to deliver it to the Parliament. We initially walked inside and we were told that we have to wait outside. So we came outside on the other end, right outside the Parliament building. We were told we had to come across the road. So I don't know if the next time somebody comes and talks to us, we might end up on Frederick Street side. I don't know. But I heard from Philip that Senator Naked or the clerk will come out and meet us momentarily. I'm not bothered. I have all the patience in the world and I could do with a tan because the beach closed for the longest while. So I get a good opportunity to catch a tan right here, all right, outside the Parliament. But we want you all to know this. Strength in numbers is very important when you want change to happen. 500 people is not enough to move a government to action. Neither is 1,000 or 2,000. It has to be tens of thousands. It's not necessarily because you're anti-government, but you have to be pro-people. And I want you to understand that. Good? So everything that we've done is not an anti-government initiative. It's a pro-people. And that's how you have to start thinking. Start putting yourself first and your politicians after. You have the power to get the change that you deserve. It's how you go about doing it. If you come out in your numbers by the tens of thousands and you stand up with one voice, with one message together to get something done, it will be done. Last week, Tuesday, there was a protest at the Queen's Park Savannah. I was amazed to see how many people came out on a Tuesday, 10 a.m. And eventually, they were moved by the police officers who were doing their job, given the situation with all the restrictions that are in place. But to know that so many people came out was really moving. And it just speaks to the entire situation just surrounding the country, the dark cloud, if I could term it that way. People want their freedom. People want action. The protest here was not an anti-vax protest as initially reported, but it was a protest in many different situations because we have increased crime in the country right now. Murders are up, amongst other things, other types of crime. We're going into the month of December. We're going into the Christmas period where a lot of people are going to be shopping and so on and so forth. And they're just generally not feeling safe in certain pockets of Trinidad and Tobago. All right. And we need to make that change happen. So what happened since we started this journey? The pepper spray legislation was passed in the Parliament, but I still have a problem with it because a lot of women do not know where to get pepper spray. Felicia, you know where I can purchase a pepper spray? Anybody know where I can purchase pepper spray? It's legal, but my point
You can't. You need a COP to prove certain
Yeah.
things, and we
Right.
don't have a COP.
good. So we still have issues to deal with that.
And it's still
And that's what I'm saying.
illegal.
It's not available.
It's not available. So they're passing legislation to make it look like they do something because, hey, they're passing legislation. But people still can't get their hand on a can of pepper spray. And we need to keep pressuring them so that we could have that issue resolved so that ladies like Candice and Felicia and Avanel, if they choose to have pepper spray instead of a payam, that they could go and they could purchase it with relative ease once they meet whatever criteria. All right, if they want it to be like that. But it has to be accessible. All right, it has to be accessible and it has to be put in play now because women are still they are still victims of crime, and I see some action happening across the road. All right, so we'll see what's going on here. I don't know if this is the clerk, but if it is the clerk, who has come out to greet us, they've also come with some increased police presence.
Why do we get that?
Maybe we need to show them the peace sign. Maybe we need to show them the peace sign and see more police come.
We have been the most peaceful activists that I have known in the history of activism. Oh, sorry, I was saying this off camera, but I don't understand. When we came here, Parliament was empty. There was nobody outside. Now there are literally at least a dozen police officers here. Some of them are riot police officers. And And I don't understand why, because we have been nothing but compliant, we've been nothing but peaceful, and these things that we're asking for, I think are very reasonable. Stefan just brought back to memory the fact that we have a pepper spray legislation that is in essence a waste of time, because just like everything else in this country, just like the decriminalization of marijuana, just like everything else that we do have asked in this country, it's not working. It's not working because, like he rightfully asked, where can I go and purchase pepper spray now to defend myself? The young woman whose name I still refuse to learn because it hurts me every time I learn the names and feel as if I myself feeling their pain and their family's pain. But would she have been saved or alive today if she had a means of defending herself? The recent one, and so many women we find in drains and over precipices and ravines and discarded on the side of the road. Would these women have had a fighting chance if they had a better opportunity to protect themselves? And that was just one of 5 items that we are asking of the government. And I maintain that if they refuse to accept these petitions, or if they keep dragging this on longer, I think you're just going to show to the nation that you don't care. You're just going to show to the nation that you don't take the priority and the safety of women. You don't think it's important, and that women are disposable, and that women can be discarded. Like we've been disposing and discarding of women, not just this year, not just last year, but so many years that we've been seeing the killing and the murder and the rapes of women in our country, and children. I have to mention children because we have Sean Luke's mom here with us today with Daddy Barrett, and it's very symbolic, both of them being here. This year, the judgment against Sean Luke's murderers were handed down, and I don't know if justice was served, because the sentences that these young men are going to serve, I don't know if it matches the crime, but that's a whole other can of worms. The review of the judicial system, one of the
Sorry,
items.
I apologize again for the
No
interruption.
problem.
I just want to keep the public updated. Somebody from the legal department just came out, so they called me over to ask some questions, and I was able to answer the questions they asked, and they wanted to see our petition. So our PRO, Candice Barrett, who she is also our attorney, she came across, she was able to speak with him, and he went away with some information, but we're still waiting on the Senate clerk, because that's who Senator Nakid asked us to ask for. And so we're on standby and waiting on that. Sorry for interrupting. That's just to update you. The head of the police, there's some, I don't know if you're seeing it on camera, they brought some additional police officers here because these ladies look very threatening. And
What can I say? I mean,
so,
if I put on heels.
they asked me what we're about. I said, well, you know, this is the end stage. We're here to serve the petition on the parliament, because they've been aware of us for months that we've been doing this. And all of these people could tell you, and we represent at the very least 128,500 citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. And after the results of last night's election, of what 40,000 people could do, imagine what 128,500 could. And the government needs to call its people inside of there and say, listen, this is a petition from more than 10% of the public of Trinidad and Tobago requesting that you treat seriously with issues that will protect the women of this country. And that's all we're here to do, to hand that petition to them. Yeah, Felicia?
There's not much for me to add to what he said, other than I really hope this process is not drawn out for longer than it should be. The importance of what we're doing here today, it should not be underestimated at all. Like Philip said, it is the voice of the people. The people have spoken. When we said we wanted to do 100,000 signatures, I didn't realize just how fed up Trinbagonians were, and they showed it. They didn't come out and protest. They didn't come out and pelt bottles. They didn't come out and deface government or private property. They said it with their pens. They signed their names on a paper. 128,500 people signed their names and said, enough is enough. Protect our women. Protect our children. And you, the politicians, the ones responsible for doing it, just do your job. Please, do your job. That's it.
I just want to say, this here today, what we're experiencing right now is a perfect example of how they complicate simple things. This is a simple process. We came to drop off the petitions. All they had to do is just send somebody outside to collect it, right? Instead, we waiting. They put us, like I said earlier, they put us off the compound onto the pavement and off the pavement on that side of the road onto the other side by Woodford Square. They bring out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, about 9 police or more for I don't know what purpose, because we just been standing here very quietly, peacefully, and all they had to do is send out somebody to collect the petitions. Now, by bringing out all these police on the pavement, the only thing they're doing is causing more attention than necessary. You understand? We would have been standing here, people would be passing in their vehicles, might not even pay us any attention to what we out here for. But now with the increased police presence, I would imagine people will say, well, you know, which is going on over here, like you have a protest taking place, and it's not a protest. And I want to make that clear. This is not even a protest. This is a simple procedure to deliver the signatures of 128,500 citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. Authentic physical signatures. For those of you who signed, you know this was not an online petition. And for the specific purpose that we didn't want them to say that we had 100,000 signatures from people from all over the world. So they know it is authentic signatures from people in Trinidad and Tobago, right? Citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. So that's all we're here to deliver. All right. Just on another note, one of the things we also requested that people sign for was a commission of inquiry into the criminal justice system. And I think that is needed more now than ever, given the situation that we see with the prisons, prison officers being killed, hits being put out on prison officers. And one of the reasons for that is because of how the system is. So we have a lot of people in the prison that are waiting trial. And the case can't call yet, and they're inside there for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, just awaiting trial. So the only thing that does is turn what may have been petty criminals into hardened criminals, because once they're inside there, then they have to seek protection from hardened criminals inside there, members of gangs and so on and so forth. So they join a gang. You understand? And they become hardened criminals while they're in the prison system, and all they're doing is waiting on a trial. And we see, and it's a frustrating thing when you're just locked up and nobody has deemed you to be innocent or guilty yet. So a man is innocent until proven guilty, and it's beginning to tell. So the criminal justice system, all of that plays a part in the commission of inquiry into the criminal justice system. The PH driver issue, the regularization of the PH drivers was another thing that people would have signed for. And that is something that is yet to be dealt with. The not the transport, but the Minister of Works and Transport mentioned, you know, he had a meeting just right after they saw we were having meetings and we were putting out the petition on this. This was back in March. You could probably Google this and you'll find the story, where he said he had a meeting with maxi taxi drivers and PH drivers to resolve the issue. And that is March. April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. Almost a year passed and nothing since that. So, like I said, it's just dressing, it's just side dressing to make you believe that something has been done. And that goes for the legislation that was passed for the pepper spray. And you just pass some for passing its sake. It has played no role, no significant role in anything to protect women. You understand? We have Sean Luke's mother, Mommy Barrett, out here as well. And just going back to the criminal justice system and how long it took for Sean Luke and his mother and his family to get justice is 15 years. 15 years that took. 15 years. So, I mean, all we're here to do today is deliver these petitions. All we're waiting on is for somebody to come out and collect it, and we'll be on our way. All right? So we will see where it goes, and we'll see how long they have us waiting out here. I have it that we out here. How long now we out here, Satish? About an hour already? Yeah, about an hour now. So they have us out here an hour. And all they had to do was just send 1, 2, 3, 4. The same set of police that they sent out to stand up on the pavement to maintain the peace is the same police could have just grabbed the drums by the handle and carry it into the parliament. They could have served that purpose instead of standing out in the hot sun, watching us watch them. Once again, simple situations, complicated. Because we just don't know how to deal with certain things in this country. All right? But this will be dealt with today. I can guarantee you that.
So as I said, nothing has been asked for is unreasonable. Just simple things that should have been in place a long time. And I'll go in order of it. One, why is pepper spray still criminalized? Taser still criminalized? They said that criminals could use it. Well, criminals using guns. Criminals are using guns. Criminals are using cutlasses. Criminals are using those things. So that's one point. Another thing, you have majority of things happening with private taxis. Will put a system in place to regularize it. You can walk into a place and get a license plate just so. Any license plate you want me. You go and you tell them the number, they print it for you. Most of the vehicles that are used for robberies and for kidnappings and such, they find out that it's a fake license plate. And why is nothing being done in regard to that? The criminal justice system, people are out on all kind of crazy charges. People are on how many charges? That fellow's on 90 charges. Some ridiculous shit like that. And out of the road terrorizing people until they start finding more bodies. And after all that, now they're going to find out again fake license plate, running private taxi, or running what if people think is legitimate taxi with a fake license plate. This is what's going on in the country, and because certain people are protected, they really couldn't get the people in power protected. Look right now, there are people in power. Look at how many officers safeguarding people inside our building from people outside where they're doing their job. They're supposed to be here. We're no threat to them, but this is the level of security they have for themselves. We don't have any level of security out here. And this is why the women in the country don't have a feeling of safety and security. So we're here to make sure that these petitions, these 128,500 signatures, apologize for saying 135,000, 38,000, sorry. Numbers getting mixed up. The official number is 128,500 signatures. Each signature has been verified, which took a great deal of time and effort. Everything is here physically. This is not an online petition. We ask people to just go and click, click, click. This is for people to get time to go and physically sign. And it's here to be delivered to the Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago. And we're still waiting in the hot sun while they relax inside to deliver the people's petition to them. Any word yet?
But I went to ask him if at least Sean Luke's mommy and Andrea Barrett's daddy could come in and shade because the sun out here blistering and it's not good for them. But they say they can't accommodate that apparently.
Yes, so apparently
they're dangerous.
So we build the whole Parliament building, all the things, take care of them. Sean Luke's mother and Andrea Barrett's father.
That they should have risen to the protection of. Exactly.
Outside here in the hot sun. Not the people in the
this
best
is obscene.
Of health. Not the people in the best
This is
of
obscene,
health.
Paul.
They
This
can't
is
even let them
obscene.
take shade inside. They can't even let Sean Luke's mother and Andrea Barrett's father take shade inside. Or never inside. Let them in the shady area outside the building. They won't even let that happen. Why? Because this is not serving the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. They're not serving the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. People they should have rise to the occasion and protect and taken care of. They want to let them just stay outside in the hot sun. That's how much they care, right? That's how much our elected representatives care about us.
Be addressed and that it cannot go on. So that is really what we're here to do today.
Thanks so much.
I also
Jobs like them.
That's kind of fun.
that's a big goal.
Yes, hello.
Yeah, that's right. You come all the way now? Right, okay, that's it. That's okay. Just look at me, guys. Just watch me. Hold up one. Hold up one. Each one of you. Just hold up one.
Right. So let me update everybody collectively. I'll shout out all together. They've asked that we serve the petition to the mail room in Cabello building. That's the one connected here with the overhead. So I'm going to message Senator Naked and see if he agrees with that or if he's going to come and take it. Because I don't know if, I mean, you all have to make a decision if that's what you want. Candice Barrett, our PRO, our attorney, she has to advise if that's a good step to take. So that's where we're at right now.
Don't leave for the finish outside. Like when they say put the
Oh.
so when they are then pressure them to do
Yeah, but I don't know why we had to submit it mail. Yeah, you could have made it if you have it again.
Near the room.
You have to wait for Candice.
All right. Near the room.
I don't know if I could talk to police and Candice.
Yeah, so
Carol.
you can have umbrella.
All right, take it. Go.
Telegram message.
Hey, what? Right? Your life.
All right, so update.
Hey guys, so we have an update. We've been waiting here for how long we've been here?
About 45.
Probably about 45 minutes. We've let them know that we came to save the petition, obviously very peacefully. And there was some back and forth. They had some persons come out. At each point, we spoke to these persons. And right now, Senate is in chambers. So we have contacted a senator, and we are waiting for his response as to whether or not he will come down and collect the signed petitions. And if not, they've also notified us that they would like us to serve it onto Cabildo Chambers, which is just across the other street from Parliament. So we're waiting now to see if we get on to the senator, who we're hoping will come down and receive it, because this is symbolic. We want it to be served onto Parliament, because that is the lawmakers of our country, and we are calling as citizens of this country onto the lawmakers to do better and to implement these things. So we're really hoping that we get through with the senator so that he can come down and receive it. But failing which, we will have to save it on Cabildo Chambers.
So I think that what they want is for us to make it easy on them and just take it to the mailroom. Our PRO is also an attorney. She says that it is the formal mailing address, so we could serve it on them and follow it up from there. So if it comes to that, we've been in touch with Senator Nakid. So we were waiting a couple minutes to see if he is going to respond. If not, we will. She's advised that we can serve it on the mailroom, and that would be good enough. So that's where we are at this minute. Everything else you need is from Candace and Felicia.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, people. You leave it in the room. Well, you want to follow it up from here. But I mean, the same thing that happened here, drop it off here under this. It just disappears.
I can give you all an update. Felicia, Candace. I just spoke to Julie and John. So, because we're trying to get somebody to physically take custody of it, even if symbolically. You said to us legally that if the mailroom receives it, it is served on the Parliament. Yes? So, Jolene is talking to them now to see if she could get somebody to come and physically receive it. If not, If she says that's not happening, then we will go to the mail room. We agree on that? After we deliver this, we give them a certain amount of time. I guess it's similar to a freedom of information request. Arbitrarily give them 6 weeks. But that doesn't mean that you can't talk about it on your show. Candice has a show where she deals with women's issues. After we serve this, there's no reason that we can't talk about that it is now in the possession of the government.
Yeah.
And that is the government responsible for these 128,500 people, including Daddy Barrett and Sean Luke's mom. And
Gotta get Candice a shot at it too.
What?
You gotta get edited the footage, so when you're doing your show, you have the footage to show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bring out your colors.
Let's give
And
it
now
a,
my show is a calm.
no, I mean, yeah, it calm, you know, but you have video footage and evidence to present on your show to say, listen,
We did.
yeah. You know? I know your show calm, Candice, I just watch it, I just hear you.
Really?
Don't worry now.
What's your favorite episode?
God, multicultural. That's good. But when you interview Gary now, that must be my favorite episode. I'm a boy.
Are we not recording? People tell me this is the calmest that they ever saw Gary.
Yeah, it was very surprising.
Everybody was like,
He was in gentleman mode.
he was a perfect gentleman.
You didn't see nothing to trip him off, you see.
But that's
Yes, I
not
just said
enough.
that.
I said, he's precious and he's fun.
but we already knew after they just sent some pictures. They just sent some pictures.
See, Candice didn't ask Gary stupid questions. Like, have you ever received money for a show?
Oh. But then he would have, I know what his response would have been,
But I don't know what the
which
response.
I'm not even going to repeat. But you know what? People like to play mass and play
And play power.
It's disrespectful. And journalists in this country, honestly, are very disrespectful.
Yeah.
You disrespecting the man, and then when he responds to you in kind, you want to be like, oh, da, 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 and
Exactly.
everybody like, Gary shouldn't have said that. Why it's okay for her to ask that question, and he can't show you how stupid your question is.
Exactly. What am I going to say? Yes.
Wait,
I
what
just
she
former commissioner.
expected?
Yeah.
She was
yeah,
looking
take
for
money already.
couture, and she got couture, and she didn't like it.
Exactly. You know? But you can check out Candice. You know, Candice have a show on multicultural TV.
Every Wednesday
Every
at
Wednesday
7.
Every Wednesday at 7.
Cable and Facebook Live.
So, you know all the women? Yeah, all the women out there? Yeah. And fellas too. All you get some good advice from Candice.
My first call was from a guy. Almost all my calls are from men. And sensible.
You want me to tell you why? You want me to tell you why?
Because you're a hottie.
No, listen.
Because men don't understand women.
Listen, I made that
That's
joke.
why.
I made that joke in the first show, and I said, listen, well, you're always saying, well, you don't understand us. If you watch this, you might understand us a little bit
Exactly.
more.
Exactly.
So
Men
it's
don't
your show
understand.
to teach men how to understand women. How to offer y'all dinner.
That I'm pretty sure we can't have those conversations.
Teach men how to deal with the emotion.
I had a toxic
Men too
masculinity
emotional.
episode.
Men too emotional.
No,
That's the
men
problem.
don't know how to deal with their emotions.
Correct.
So it's not like, it's either anger, aggression. I mean, sorry, the next aspect of a man,
Candice?
or happy.
Yeah.
I'm Jennifer.
Yeah. The PRO and them will handle that. In the meantime, I'll talk to all of them. Yeah, people. So as Candice goes, hey, Daddy Barry, my umbrella. I'm singing in the sun, just singing in the sun. So we have some media here, TV6 and apparently I think CNC3. So PRO and they're gonna talk. I won't be indulging in food interviews with the media. But I'll stay here with you guys and give you all the ball by ball commentary. So right now, what we have is a literal face-off. The police on the other side of the road facing us, and we are on this side facing them. Yeah, it's a face-off. And we're preparing to deliver this to either the mail room, or like Philip said, Jolene John is trying to have somebody come and collect it. All right. But Port of Spain, not too busy today, and the weather is great. I really enjoyed this, you know. You gotta get kicked, you know, because it's a simple process, you know what I mean? Satish, I tell you what, it's only when you experience things like this, right? You know, like if somebody had tell me this story, boy, I went to drop somebody in Parliament, and they make me stand up across the road for an hour and a half, and then they tell me I go to the mail room and walk across on the next side, and then once the police come out, and I tell them they lie. And I say, you're a liar. You're a liar. You know? But yes, here we are. Here we are. And to tell you the truth, I mean, the 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 drums and that what's called it again is basins or totes. Yeah, the totes aren't that heavy, yeah. So I mean like literally two people gotta pick it up. So we didn't even need eight. We just, you know, for dramatic effect we had four people holding, you know, one tote. But in truth and in fact, easy, it just make it easier because the walk we have to make. But from the door to inside, we just take two people. Hell, one person could lift it up. You know what I mean? I saw one strong fella could, you know, just lift it up from right here to there. It didn't need no big set of manpower, but here we are. You know, I have never used an umbrella for the sun. I enjoy it, you know. Yeah.
And look at the umbrella you choose.
Oh yes, a beautiful umbrella with butterflies. Yeah. You know, the umbrella was actually invented for the sun, not for the rain. You know? Yeah. It was originally. Remember, you used to get people walking around with the umbrella, ladies and things walking around with the umbrella shading from the sun. Yeah, it was invented for that. Yeah, you know that, that the umbrella was originally invented for the sun, for shade. Yeah, not really to keep you dry.
Yes.
Yes, it's great information. I like Wikipedia.
Fast tracking as well firearm users license for women so that they can be able to protect themselves. Uh, System that regulates the case pathway system, which is which has led to so many lives being destroyed. A system to formalize the issuance of motor vehicle licenses and so that we launched that physical petition. It was not an online petition. It was physical petition sheet, which was disclosed to all Trinidad and Tobago from March to the end of April. And we were able to get 128,527 physical signatures. And we were trying to serve the physical petition since then. However, with the increase in COVID numbers and later on the state of emergency, we had to wait. But at this point, we feel that we really do have to bring the voice of the people who have spoken through these petitions to Parliament to call upon them to do what they have to do to make our women and our citizens safer. So we are here to deliver. Yeah, we're here to deliver. We've been here, I believe, for now. It's about an hour. Senators and chambers, we've let them know that we're outside very peacefully, very, we're not here for any trouble, but we really have to physically serve these petition seats to Parliament. Since so we have asked, we know that there's a certain senator who's been in communication with. We have asked him if he would be willing to come down, but I know that they're in chambers. He's not able to send his messages. We've had some legal personnel from Parliament come, we've indicated what our position is, and they have intimated that they suggest we drop the petition for two Cabildo chambers, which is just on the other side of Parliament. But to us, it's symbolic because this is the lawmaking body, and they are tasked with securing and safeguarding the well-being of all citizens, and I think particularly our women, because women are at risk. And just on the 4th of December made it 1 year since the Chancellor rally. Tomorrow makes it 5 years, half a decade since Canada was and absolutely nothing has been done to address the situation and make women safer.
So, I mean, since there's no formal arrangement in place, how are you just
Well, we have indicated that we're here, they are aware, and we're waiting for some time, and if not, we will have to sit on the Yeah, we're joined here by Andrea's dad, Mr. Randolph Barrett, and Sean's mom, Pauline. We have received a lot of support from the families of the victims who really have joined with us and have supported the petition because they know what they would have gone through as parents. Some of them, their children are still missing after years. They haven't, there's no Shade Emmanuel. Her family, Marilyn Emmanuel and June Emmanuel, it's been years since their daughter was missing and a body was eventually waiting for years for a DNA match. And there's so many parents in this country who are heartbroken, who are hurt, who are living with the loss. I mean, Randall Barrett lost his only daughter. Pauline lost his 6-year-old son. And that is a situation that we read in the newspapers and we think, you might shed a tear, you might think, this is so sad, and then everybody moves on with their lives and nothing is done. And it's so horrific to the parents who have gone through these things. And for me personally as a woman, because I can't fathom what Andrea or Ashanti's last moment was like. And the fact is that can happen to any one of us as women because we are not protected and because our safety and well-being is not made a priority in this country. So you're asking somebody center?
Yeah.
Okay, Randy, somebody center. Hi. So we'll just start with you to find out, why are you here today?
Well, I'm here with support of Caroline. This Saturday is Saturday, and I support them 100%. Much are wrong things in this country. There is a place where things are supposed to be debated and changed. I think I've been for the past 40, 50 years trying to change it. I get to support them with anything that is
It has been just now we'll make it a year. Yeah. Sometimes it's really
hard, but I would like to talk about that. So I don't really think about it. I just remember, just try to remember the good things. And that's it. Talking about shit, I can't do it.
what happens when you look at the paper, look at the news, and see another victim?
It is just it's like going through everything over and over. It started striking that now the horror story. Every day you see something, it's just another horror story. Tomorrow morning, everybody else talking about it on and it goes on. And thank you so much. Most of our time to stop this. Somebody has to do it. I once the right people there, something will work.
Pauline Lombay, how long has it been?
I am now Barrett. I am not Untitled. It's been 16 years. It's so long, it seems like, to me, it's like yesterday it happened. Every day it was yesterday. Every day it feels like it was just yesterday.
You don't feel like it was gone at all.
Now I feel a little strength and courage from other Candice and the movement. They consider me like a family and I'm grateful and I appreciate it because I see people, not only my son, it doesn't only concern my son now, it concerns everybody, the whole country. Evil comes in so many different forms. Because like to me it's like everything and everybody's corrupted. It's the ones that are in high places who in charge, who take care, who is supposed to take care of our needs. They are all corrupted. No?
Just think about Sean, you wonder, like, when he was a kid, like that.
He would have been 22-year-old, he would have been 22-year-old. A young man who wanted to fix rocket engines and airplane engines. That was his dream. To fix airplane engines. And mind you, he was a very smart, very intelligent child. And I know he would have made it. He was an American. Probably would have been doing what he wanted to do. I certainly would have pushed him to do what he wanted to do.
Who do you hold accountable?
I hold for this whole scenario, this country. I feel I hold them more responsible than the murderers and the perpetrators. Because what they did to me is the same as what the murderers and them did to my child. They did the same thing to me. They didn't give me any kind of justice. No. One got 11 years, one got 17 years. Counting night and day. Just so they're gonna come out and go back into society. I wonder if people prepared for that. No? I don't even know if I'm gonna live that long. But I was calm all the time. I was calm, but knowing what is happening in this country has no women aggravated and upset. And just, it's just upsetting to me.
If you could get closure, what would that be?
I cannot get closure. For me, I want my son back. That is closure for me. And I could never get that. I want him back. But if the law have done its part and put these fellows away for life or something, where they can't come back to society to hurt anybody, that would have been also more satisfaction for me.
And since surely you've read about Candlelight,
Yes, so many people who have got the hurt and all women. Yes, I wonder even if there's a place to rescue these women who are hurt and battered. Because when they get hurt like that, it's like you lose all hope. You lose all hope in humanity.
like Pauline, when these officers get it, what do you hope they do?
I hope they do the right thing and they take into consideration everybody who has signed up and so many want the same thing. They want women to be safe. That's what they want. They want measures for women, that protection for women to have on the possession on their bodies so they can protect themselves. Anybody come here to grab them. Let it drop like flies. Don't come around me in any kind of form of fashion and have respect. That is what I want for men, for people to respect women. Young
You
girls.
feel, I get that you feel sort of emotional when you think about persons being or
Yeah.
suffering the same way Sean would have.
Yes. The same thing you had just now mentioned to Daddy Barrett. That you don't know what the last moment. So I just hear him in my head. I just feel like I hear him calling, "Mommy, help! Mommy, help!" Because one of the witnesses, the one who went to phone witness, had said that my son was screaming for his mommy. Do you know how that makes me feel? How that ripped me, how that just ripped me up. I just hear it in my mind. That's why my my gruel and my pain will go away. It wouldn't go away unless I have people around me to distract me. I have a farm, and if you see how much love I just give to those animals, it's like human beings. I just play with them, scratch them, love them, and show my love on the animals. Because life for me is different than life for everybody else. I feel. And I'm very emotional. I feel a lot for everybody. You understand? Because when my son was alive, I couldn't bear for one grain of hair on his head to hurt him, much less for what they did to him. You understand? You're welcome, Vashi.
So we just wait and now, yeah?
And it's one. Huh? That one to the. So you probably take it to the meeting. I don't know if
I'm so glad you guys are in my life today.
So you have it set up. Introductions like forward and stuff.
Okay, all right. So we'll just go through the
Let's go.
I'll go for the seal.
We have like 1 minute.
As much time as you have. You may cry watching you talk again. You just do that all the time.
You know anybody can pop on it.
Maybe just trying to be
Favorite, right?
only we have. You say, what are you come to do? Come. Are we going to go to the bedroom?
Just like a following room. And I was getting angry and I think probably going to
You'll lead us. You'll lead us. So see that gate on the end there, between here and the headquarters regiment. Inspector said we can walk through there.
Alright, let's go. Ready?
Slow down. Slow down.
And you know what? If you get an angry, get something.
Mr. Ole, stay this lane. And this. Stay this way.
But you know something? I feel different now with you guys. Yeah, I do. I feel like I'm part of something new. Huh? Yeah. I really grateful for the discussion. Guys,
I feel love, yeah?
and I love you guys too. Yeah.
So much love. And secondary, yeah, but I found that I got to meet you. It's like, oh,
See, that's what we
yeah. Oh, gosh,
I knew it was pretty long.
right past the house. And you know, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Walk on the side.
I don't know.
Where is it?
Oh, well, finally found it.
Yeah. And obviously this is like a million years ago. It's important because God is like sorry, don't call me on that, you know.
I don't know.
We'll wait a minute. Consider
And they said, so, other things,
It's the carriers.
oh, okay, right.
Candice, cover sheet.
You want to check the other one in the meantime? Bring up the other one in the meantime.
Heavy to lift it to
Yeah, step on this one too.
yeah, Stefan, okay.
Yeah.
Look a little on the back. It's on the back. Right. You have the ball? Everything. Yeah. Good job.
Bring everyone, guys. Paul. Thank you, everybody. So, phase one is complete. Phase one is complete. We've initiated a petition. We've had it signed. 128,500 people have signed it. And now that petition is in the hands of our attorney at law and our PRO. Candice Barrett is there. They're signing over for receiving all of the petitions. It's now in the hands of the government of Trinidad and Tobago through the parliament to make this an issue to be discussed and debated at the soonest possible time. This is more than 10% of the population of Trinidad and Tobago requesting that the state take seriously the issue of violence against women, children, and everybody in our society. These 5 points are critical to undoing the culture of violent madness that seems to have had Trinidad in grip in the past 2 decades. I'll take it up. chance. One chance. And the last thing. Both of you. All right.
What do you call it? Phase one or phase
This is phase one. Phase
two? Well,
two.
phase one of the petition statement.
Yeah, phase two is agitating to get it action.
Actually. Not like a pepper spray law. I still don't know what pepper spray.
Phase two is agitating to see.
You're a good reporter.
Yeah, just get on this.
I know.
Agitating to see public. Get government action. 5 demands that 128,500 people put their signature to.
What are the 5 demands?
That we get a commission of inquiry into the criminal justice system.
Can I record?
Sure, of course.
Okay. Can you repeat the 5 demands for me?
That they decriminalize non-lethal weapons for the protection of women, pepper spray, tasers. That we come up with a system for the issuance of the proper issuance of license plates. That we come up with a system to manage the PH taxi cars, that we get a fast track of the FULs so that women could be able to better arm and protect themselves, and that we get a commission of inquiry into the criminal justice system that seems to be providing a revolving door to criminals, one of which had 70 charges. One of the persons named in Andrea's abduction and murder, he had 70 charges, and he was outside able to inflict misery. He was named in the death of another young woman who they say had a child for him. So it's really sad that the country, the government, we have so many attorneys in the parliament, in the government, in the cabinet, in the Senate. And it is sad that the people of Trinidad and Tobago have to come back to them and tell them, these are the things that you need to pay attention to. We need these things addressed. Too much nonsense goes on in the parliament. Women are at risk. After this video and this interview is over, all of the women that are involved in this at special risk, because there are people outside there preying on our women, and that needs to stop.
So how are you going to initiate phase 2?
Through protests, through communication. We have some of the loudest voices as part of the Candlelight movement. Myself, Stephen Rees, Inshan Ishmael, Candice Barrett now has a show on MCTV where she deals almost exclusively with issues affecting women and gender-based violence. So we have a lot of ways to bring the conversation. People didn't sign this and forget it. They've been harassing us for the 6 months of this state of emergency, because a lot of people believe that the state of emergency was called to stop us taking this to the public. And now that the state of emergency is over, we had to take action immediately to get it served on the government and on the parliament, with the hopes that this now becomes part of the national legislative agenda. Yeah, this is our PRO, Candice Barrett.
Hi. Right. So, yeah, sure. This is what we call the cover sheet of the petition, and it sets out what we are asking, and we had been asking Parliament to do, and it's actually signed by some of the parents of the victims. So here we have Randall Barrett's signature, Candace Riley, Sean Luke's mom also signed it, Shannon Banfield's mom also signed it. So and a few other parents who would have lost their children. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you for speaking.
Yeah. So Candice, please give the last on this live video to the public, and then I guess we could call phase 2 around.
So guys, phase 1, right. So I'm glad that Philip has said what phase we're at, because this is by no means the end. We have now finally served the 128,527 physical signatures. We were trying to serve it onto Parliament. That I think we waited about an hour and a half, but that was not possible. But Parliament, after a little bit of back and forth with their personnel, they directed us to Cabildo Chambers. So we actually have physically finally served the national petition onto Cabildo Chambers for Parliament's attention. And this is the end of phase one, and phase two would be us continuing to follow up with Parliament and to keep pushing for them to implement what 128,527 citizens of this country, which is, I think, more than 10% of the voting public, have asked for us to do. So it really is, for us, a historical moment in our country's history and in terms of addressing safety and the well-being of our citizens. And thank you so much again. I mean, I've said this so many times, but thank you again for everyone who supported us. We had so many people who really, to have all these petitions physically signed during a pandemic was by no means an easy task. But the amount of support that we had from so many persons who just wanted to do something to try to prevent the horrific situations of Andrea and Ashanti and countless other women whose names that we don't even have enough time to call, and not just women but all our citizens. And that is what this is about. So thank you very much for your support thus far, and we will keep you posted on any progress that we make.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think I'm the official last person to speak, and as the chairman of the Candlelight movement, coordinating the first assembly meeting of what they call the Avengers, and just turned out to be ordinary human beings who just want a better Trinidad and Tobago. To seeing where we are at today, which is phase one, the serving of the petitions. Of course, like Candace and Philip and others said before, it is a historical moment, and it is by no means the end. Phase one is over, but phase two, where we will agitate for the 5 demands on the petition that we signed, will begin. And we'll be timing and we will be watching the government to see how they react and when they respond to the 5 demands. Thank you, like Candace said, like Philip said, thank you to everybody who came out and supported the movement, from the people who picked up the candles every night for the 12 nights, the people who helped the coordination of the petitions throughout Trinidad and Tobago and overseas, the US, Canada, England, wherever in the world you resided. And if you managed to sign the petition, thank you very much. Like I said, this is just the beginning. And stay tuned for more from the Candlelight movement.